The most dangerous person in the room is never the one shouting. It is the one listening. It is the one watching. It is the one who understands that true power does not need to announce itself, because true power is self-evident. Look around you. We live in a world addicted to noise. We are told to speak up, to lean in, to build a personal brand, to broadcast every thought, every meal, and every minor achievement to an audience that doesn't care. You have been conditioned to believe that volume equals value. You have been taught that if you are not the loudest voice in the conversation, you are losing. But deep down, you know this is a lie. Think of the people you truly respect, the ones you actually fear, or the ones you desperately want to impress. Do they scramble for attention? Do they interrupt constantly to prove they are smart? No. They possess a terrifying calmness. They are comfortable in the silence that makes everyone else squirm. When they finally speak, the room stops. Their words have weight because they do not waste them. This audiobook is not about becoming shy. It is not about letting people walk all over you. It is about the exact opposite. It is about reclaiming your dignity from a world that wants you to be a performing monkey. It is about mastering the ancient strategic art of silence. Right now, you are leaking power. Every time you over-explain yourself to someone who doesn't deserve an explanation, you are leaking power. Every time you react emotionally to an insult, you are handing the remote control of your mind to your enemy. Every time you announce your plans before you have executed them, you are dissipating the energy required to get them done. You are trading respect for attention, and it is a bad trade. Over the course of this journey, we are going to plug those leaks. We are going to dismantle the habit of filling the void. You will learn how to use silence as a mirror, forcing others to confront their own insecurities while you remain an unreadable fortress. You will learn the difference between the silence of the coward and the silence of the king. We will move through 3 distinct phases. First, we will build the foundation of self-awareness, stripping away the need for external validation. Next, we will cover the tactics of influence, how to negotiate, how to intimidate, and how to seduce without raising your voice. Finally, we will reach the state of mastery, where your very presence enters the room before you do. This path requires discipline. The urge to speak is a primitive instinct. It is a defense mechanism. To remain silent when your ego wants to scream is an act of war against your weaker self. But if you can win that war, you win everything. By the end of this audiobook, you will no longer feel the need to chase people, opportunities, or approval. You will become the gravity that pulls them to you. You will stop being one of the many who make noise and become the one who makes a difference. Before we descend into the depths of this transformation, I have a small request. If you are finding value in this message, and if you are ready to commit to this journey, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, The Premier Audiobooks. It helps us spread this philosophy to others who, like you, are tired of the noise. If you have been listening this far, consider this your first step toward mastery. Make the commitment, like and subscribe now. The world is loud. It is chaotic. It is desperate for someone who is in control. Take a breath. Close your mouth. Open your mind. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Cult of Noise. Why are you terrified of a pause in conversation? Think about the last time you were in an elevator with a stranger, or standing in line at a coffee shop, or sitting across from a colleague before a meeting started. The moment the silence stretched beyond 3 seconds, you felt a physical itch. You felt a rising panic in your chest. You felt the desperate, compulsive need to say something, anything, to bridge the gap. You talked about the weather. You complained about the traffic. You made a self-deprecating joke. You pulled out your phone to scroll through a feed you didn't care about, just to look busy. Why? Because you have been indoctrinated into the cult of noise. From the moment you were born, you were taught that silence is empty. You were taught that silence is awkward, or worse, hostile. You were conditioned to believe that a quiet person is a bored person, or a stupid person, or a disconnected person. Society rewards the extrovert, the hand raiser, the fast talker, the one who can fill the air with sound. We look at the person who dominates the conversation, and we mistake their volume for leadership. We mistake their confidence for competence. But let's be honest with each other. When you were the one rambling, when you were the one filling the dead air with nervous chatter, do you feel powerful? Do you feel in control? No. You feel exhausted. You feel like a performer dancing for an audience that isn't clapping. This chapter is your wake-up call. Before we can build your power, we have to stop the bleeding. We have to look at the noise in your life not as a habit, but as a leak. Every unnecessary word you speak is a leak in your fuel tank. Every time you rush to fill the silence, you are telling the world that you are uncomfortable in your own skin. You are signaling that the environment controls you, rather than you controlling the environment. To understand why you need to embrace silence, you must first understand the economics of words. Imagine a central bank that prints money without limit. They print trillions of dollars every single day and drop it from helicopters. What happens to that currency? It becomes worthless. You would need a wheelbarrow of cash just to buy a loaf of bread. Scarcity creates value. When there is too much of something, nobody respects it. Your words operate on the exact same economic principle. There are people in your life right now who talk constantly. They narrative their day, they voice every fleeting thought, they have an opinion on every topic, regardless of whether they know anything about it. When these people speak, do you lean in? Do you take notes? No. You tune them out. You nod politely while your brain goes into screensaver mode. Their currency has succumbed to hyperinflation. Their words are cheap because they are abundant. Now contrast that with the person who rarely speaks. We all know one. Maybe it's an older relative, a senior mentor, or a stoic friend. They sit in the meeting and just listen. They don't nod along to be liked. They don't interrupt to prove they are paying attention. But when they finally open their mouths, the room goes deadly quiet. Why? Because they have created scarcity. Their words are rare, so their words are expensive. They have preserved their capital. If you want to show your power, you must stop devaluing your own currency. You must stop flooding the market with your thoughts. But the cult of noise isn't just about talking too much. It's about why we talk. Noise is almost always a symptom of insecurity. It is a defense mechanism. Let's look at the phenomenon of the nervous explain. This is one of the most common ways people surrender their authority without realizing it. Imagine you are late for a meeting. You walk in and you say, "I'm sorry I'm late." That is polite, that is acceptable. But most people don't stop there. They say, "I'm sorry I'm late. The traffic on the highway was a nightmare because of construction, and then I couldn't find a parking spot, and then the elevator was broken." Stop. Analyze that interaction. Who were those excuses for? Were they for the people waiting? No. The people waiting don't care about the traffic or the elevator. They only care that you're late. The excuses were for you. You were offering up information to beg for forgiveness. You were trying to manage their perception of you. You were saying, "Please don't be mad at me. I am a victim of circumstance." A powerful person owns their reality. They do not burden others with the backstory of their failures. If they are late, they own it. Apologies for the delay. Let's begin. They strip away the noise. They do not hand over their dignity by over-explaining. This compulsion to explain extends beyond mistakes. It infects your ambitions. How often have you had a new idea, a business you want to start, a fitness regimen you want to try, a habit you want to break, and the first thing you did was tell a friend? You sat down and spent 45 minutes explaining your vision. You told them how great it's going to be. You told them exactly how you're going to do it. They nodded, they congratulated you, they told you how smart you are, and then you did nothing. You never started the business, you never went to the gym. Psychologically, you fell into a trap. When you announce your plans to the world, your brain releases dopamine. You get the reward of the achievement without actually doing the work. The noise, the talking about the goal, satisfied the hunger. You tricked your brain into thinking you had already succeeded. The pressure was released, and with it, the motivation died. The cult of noise tells you to share your journey. Power tells you to shut your mouth and do the work. The loudest people in the gym are rarely the strongest. The richest people in the room usually wear the simplest clothes and speak the least about money. The ones who constantly post on social media about how happy their relationship is are usually the ones on the verge of a breakup. Noise is compensation. It is a cover-up. It is the fresh coat of paint over a rotting wall. When you are truly powerful, you have no desire to prove it. A lion does not walk into the savannah and roar that he is the king. He just walks. The gazelle knows. The hyena knows. The presence dictates the reality. So where does this leave you? No longer explain your mistakes, and you will feel a shift in your confidence. It leaves you with a difficult realization. You have been acting like a prey animal. Prey animals are skittish. They are constantly signaling. They are hyper-aware of everyone else, desperate to fit into the herd because the herd is safety. If you are standing alone in silence, you feel exposed. You feel like a target. So you make noise to say, I am here. I am harmless. I am one of you. To step into your power, you must be willing to leave the herd. You must be willing to endure the discomfort of being the only person in the room who isn't trying to impress anyone. This is not easy. The first time you consciously choose silence, it will feel aggressive. Picture this scenario. You are in a negotiation, or perhaps a disagreement with a partner. They say something that upsets you. Your instinct, the instinct trained by the cult of noise, is to snap back immediately, to defend yourself, to correct them, to raise your voice to match theirs. Instead, you choose silence. You look at them. You keep your face neutral. You take a breath. You let their words hang in the air. In that 3-second pause, the dynamic shifts. They expected resistance, but they found a void. They start to wonder, did he hear me? Does he not care? Is he thinking of something I don't know? Their imagination begins to run wild. In their attempt to figure you out, they project their own fears onto your silence. You haven't done anything. You have simply refused to play the game of noise. That is the beginning of power. But we must go deeper. We must look at the noise inside your own head. The external noise, the talking, the explaining, the social media posting, is just a reflection of internal chaos. You talk to drown out your own thoughts. You seek validation from others because you cannot validate yourself. If you cannot sit in a room alone for 30 minutes without distraction, you are a slave to the cult of noise. You are running from yourself. And if you are running from yourself, how can you expect anyone else to follow you? How can you lead? How can you command respect? The most charismatic leaders in history, the most terrifying villains, the most successful visionaries, they all share a quality called groundedness. They are like a heavy stone in a rushing river. The water moves around them, noisy and chaotic, but the stone does not move. The stone does not scream at the water. It just is. You are currently the water. You are splashing against every rock, reacting to every turn in the riverbed, frothing and bubbling. I want you to become the stone. This transformation requires a silence audit. You need to become painfully aware of every time you open your mouth. Start observing the people around you with a critical eye. Look at the nice guy at work who laughs too loud at the boss's bad jokes. Look at the salesman who keeps talking even after the customer has said yes, eventually talking them out of the sale. Look at the friend who interrupts your story to tell you a better version of a similar thing that happened to them. Do you see the weakness? Do you see the desperation? Now turn that eye inward. Catch yourself when you are about to offer an unsolicited opinion. Ask yourself, does this need to be said? Catch yourself when you are about to fill a silence. Ask yourself, why am I uncomfortable? Catch yourself when you are about to complain. Ask yourself, does this change the outcome, or am I just polluting the air? The cult of noise is a cult of mediocrity. It is a collective agreement to keep everything on the surface, to keep everything light, fast, and meaningless. To show your power, you must become deep, slow, and deliberate. You might fear that if you stop talking, people will forget you. You might fear that if you don't broadcast your achievements, nobody will know you are successful. Let me tell you a secret. Mystery is the most potent aphrodisiac for respect. When you stop telling people who you are, they become obsessed with finding out. When you stop telling people what you are going to do, they watch you intensely to see what happens next. When you stop seeking their approval, they start seeking yours. The world is deafened by noise. Everyone is shouting. Everyone is trying to be an influencer. Everyone is a brand. In a room full of screaming children, the adult is the one who stands quietly with their arms crossed, waiting for order. Be the adult. You have spent your life thinking that you need to add more. More words, more volume, more explanations, more activity. The truth is, you need to subtract. Power is not about addition, it is about subtraction. It is about removing the fluff, the filler, and the insecurity until only the essential truth remains. The next time you feel the urge to speak, I want you to treat it like a physical weight. Is this thought heavy enough to be worth lifting? Is this sentence valuable enough to break the golden silence? Most of the time, the answer will be no. And in that no, in that refusal to speak, you will feel a surge of energy. That is the energy you usually waste. That is the power you usually leak. Keep it. Hold it inside. Let it build. The cult of noise wants you to be a hollow drum, loud because you are empty inside. We're going to fill you up with substance, with strategy, and with discipline. And a full vessel does not make a sound when you strike it. It stands solid. You are about to enter a new way of operating. It will feel strange. People might ask you, is everything okay? Or, why are you so quiet today? When they ask that, do not explain. Do not apologize. Do not give them a nervous laugh. Just look at them, smile slightly, and say, I'm just listening. Watch how they react. Watch how they squirm. Watch how they suddenly try to impress you. You have just taken the first step. You have unplugged from the matrix of mindless chatter. You are no longer a participant in the noise. You are an observer of it. This is the foundation. We have stopped the leak. We have identified the enemy. Now we must learn how to build the fortress. In the next chapter, we will discuss the internal discipline required to maintain this silence when every emotional trigger is being pulled. We will learn how to master the stoic pause. But for now, let this sink in. Your silence is not empty. It is heavy. It is loaded. And for the first time in your life, you are going to learn how to aim it. Chapter 2. The Fortress of Restraint. How fast can you destroy your reputation?
It takes years to build trust. It takes decades to build a legacy. But it takes exactly 1 second to burn it all to the ground. 1 second. That is the time it takes to hit send on an angry email. That is the time it takes to scream an insult at a subordinate. That is the time it takes to lose your composure in a high-stakes meeting. We have all been there. You feel the heat rise up the back of your neck. Your heart starts hammering against your ribs. The adrenaline floods your system, and your vision narrows. The primitive part of your brain, the lizard brain, hijacks the cockpit. It screams, "Fight! Defend! Attack!" And so, you react. You snap. You let the emotion explode out of you, and in that moment, you think you are being strong. You think you are showing them who is boss. You think you are standing up for yourself. You are wrong. In that moment, you are displaying ultimate weakness. You are advertising to the world that you have no self-control. You are proving that your internal state is entirely dependent on external events. You are not a king in a castle. You are a leaf in the wind, blown around by whoever decides to huff and puff in your direction. Welcome to the fortress of restraint. In the previous chapter, we talked about the noise you make voluntarily, the chatter, the over-explaining. Now we are going to deal with the noise that is forced out of you, the reaction. Power is not about what you do when things are going well. Power is defined by what you do when things go wrong.
There is an ancient truth that every stoic, every samurai, and every great negotiator knows. He who angers you owns you. Think about that. If a stranger on the internet can type a few words and ruin your entire day, who is in charge? Is it you, or is it the stranger? If a passive-aggressive comment from a coworker can make you lose your focus for 3 hours, they are the master and you are the puppet. They pull the string and you dance. To show your power, you must cut the strings. You must become unprovocable. This brings us to the core concept of this chapter, the gap. Between every stimulus, what happens to you, and your response, what you do about it, there is a space, a gap. In that gap lies your freedom. In that gap lies your power. Most people have no gap. Someone insults them, they insult back. Immediate, automatic, reflexive. They are slaves to cause and effect. The powerful person widens the gap. They introduce a delay. Let's visualize this. You are in a boardroom. Someone attacks your idea. They call it foolish. They try to humiliate you in front of the group. The amateur gets defensive. He raises his voice. He stammers. He attacks the attacker. He looks rattled. The master does nothing. He sits back. He takes a breath. He looks at the attacker with a calm, detached curiosity. He waits. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. The silence stretches. The attacker starts to feel awkward. The energy in the room shifts from the attack to the reaction. And because there is no reaction, the attack falls flat. It hits a wall. Then, and only then, does the master speak. And because he waited, because he processed his emotion inside his fortress before letting it out, his response is cold, calculated, and devastating. This is the stoic pause. It is the ultimate display of dominance. It signals to everyone in the room, I am so secure in my position that your hostility does not even register as a threat. But building this fortress requires a fundamental shift in how you view emotion. Society tells you to let it all out. Society tells you that suppressing your feelings is unhealthy. In a therapy session, that might be true. In the arena of power, it is suicide. You must learn to separate feeling from displaying. You are a human being. You will feel anger. You will feel fear. You will feel jealousy. You have no control over the initial spark of emotion. That is biology. But you have absolute control over whether you fan that spark into a flame that burns your house down. Imagine your mind is a high-security facility. The emotion is a visitor at the gate. It knocks. It demands entry. The weak person leaves the gate wide open. The emotion walks right in and takes over the control room. The strong person has a security protocol. The emotion knocks. You check the camera. You see anger standing there. You acknowledge it. Ah, I see I am angry. But you do not open the gate. You do not let it grab the microphone. You keep it outside the wall until you have decided what to do with it. This applies to more than just anger. It applies to excitement too. This is a subtle point that many aspiring leaders miss. They think being stoic just means not crying or not yelling.
But gushing excitement is also a leak. Imagine you are negotiating a deal. The other party offers you a price that is better than you expected. If you grin, if your eyes light up, if you immediately say, "Yes, that's amazing," you have lost. You have shown your hand. You have revealed your valuation. You have told them that they could have offered you less, and subconsciously they lose a little bit of respect for you. You seem eager. You seem hungry. Hunger is not a look of power. Satiation is. When you receive good news, you must remain as unreadable as when you receive bad news. A simple nod, "That sounds acceptable," a calm demeanor. This terrifies people. When they cannot read your excitement, they don't know what makes you tick. They don't know what you value. And if they don't know what you value, they cannot manipulate you. You want to be a puzzle that nobody can solve. Let's talk about the face. Your face is the billboard of your mind. For most people, the billboard is constantly updating. I am confused. I'm happy. I'm offended. You need to turn the billboard off. This is not about frowning. A person who walks around frowning looks miserable and defensive. That is not power. That is grumpiness. The look of power is the neutral gaze. It is relaxed. The jaw is unclenched. The eyes are steady. It is the face of a poker player holding a royal flush or a pair of twos. Nobody knows, because the face is the same. Practicing the neutral gaze is difficult. We are social creatures. We are trained to mirror others. If someone smiles, we smile. If someone frowns, we look concerned.
Next time you are in a tense conversation, resist the urge to mirror. If they get agitated, you get still. If they speed up their talking, you slow down. Be the anchor. When you refuse to mirror their emotion, you force them to deal with yours. You become the emotional gravity of the room. Eventually, they will calm down to match you, because your state is stronger, heavier, and more permanent than theirs. This leads us to the concept of unpredictability. In warfare, if the enemy knows exactly how you will react to an attack, you are dead. If they know that bombing location A will make you move your troops to location B, they will bomb location A just to lead you into a trap at location B. Most people are pitifully predictable. If I criticize his report, he will get defensive. If I don't reply to her text, she will double text. If I challenge him in front of the boss, he will sulk. When you are predictable, you are easy to manage. People know exactly which buttons to push to get the result they want. But what happens when you build the fortress of restraint? They push the button, and nothing happens. They insult you, and you just look at them. They try to make you jealous, and you look bored. They try to rush you, and you move slower. Now they are panicked. Their manual doesn't work on you. The buttons are broken. They start to think, what is he planning? What does he know that I don't? Fear of the unknown is the most primal fear humans have. By being unreadable, you tap into that fear. You become a black box. People tread carefully around a black box because they don't know if it contains a treasure or a bomb. Let's look at a practical application. The 24-hour rule. This is a tool for your fortress. Make a vow to yourself today. You will never make a significant decision or deliver a significant response while in a state of high emotion. If you receive an email that makes you furious, write the response. Pour all your venom into it. Call them every name in the book. Then, save it as a draft. Close the computer. Wait 24 hours. When you come back the next day, the chemical storm in your brain will have subsided. You will read that draft and you will be horrified. You will see how weak, petty, and emotional it sounds. You will delete it, and you will write 3 sentences that are professional, cold, and effective. You have saved your reputation. You have maintained your power. The same applies to verbal confrontation. If you feel yourself losing the grip on the fortress, if you feel the gate buckling, you must tactically retreat. There is no shame in saying, "I need to process this." We will continue this discussion later. That is not running away. That is a strategic pause. It shows you are disciplined enough to know your limits. It is better to walk away for 10 minutes than to stay and say something that destroys your authority. Remember, once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you cannot put it back in. Once the words leave your mouth, they are part of the historical record. The fortress of restraint is also about protecting your energy. Reacting is expensive. Anger burns glucose. Anxiety burns energy. Drama is exhausting. Have you ever noticed how tired you feel after a big argument? You are drained. Now look at the people at the top of the food chain. The CEOs, the generals, the surgeons. They operate under immense pressure, yet they often seem to have boundless energy. Why? Because they don't leak it. They don't waste calories on petty emotional squabbles. They don't spend their day riding a roller coaster of highs and lows. They stay in the middle. They are efficient. When you stop reacting to everything, you suddenly have a surplus of energy. You can use that energy to build, to create, to strategize, to execute. You are moving from a defensive posture to an offensive one. When you are reactive, you are playing defense. You are blocking punches. When you are restrained, you are watching the opponent, waiting for them to tire themselves out, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This is the path of the predator, not the prey. As you go through your day tomorrow, I want you to play a game. Visualize the fortress around your mind. Visualize the walls. When someone cuts you off in traffic, watch the anger hit the wall and slide off. Do not honk, do not scream, just drive. When a friend cancels plans last minute, watch the disappointment hit the wall. Do not send a passive-aggressive text, just say, "Understood." Feel the power of not doing what you want to do. There is a strange, intoxicating pleasure in self-denial. When you want to scream and you choose silence, you feel a rush of superiority. You conquered the animal inside. You are the driver, not the passenger. This is the prerequisite for everything that follows. You cannot observe the world if your eyes are clouded with red mist. You cannot negotiate effectively if you are desperate for approval. You cannot lead if you are easily led by your own temper. Secure the fortress. Lock the gate. Become the person who cannot be rattled. Become the person who cannot be read. In a world of chaos, the one who remains calm looks like a god. Now that you have learned to stop the noise and control the reaction, you have created a vacuum. You are silent. You are still. So what do you do with that silence? You don't just sit there. You use it. You use it to see things that others miss. You use it to gather intelligence. You use it to become a hunter. In the next chapter, we will turn your attention outward. We will learn the predator's gaze. We will discuss how to use your silence to read micro-expressions, decode hidden agendas, and understand the hierarchies of every room you enter. You have built the walls. Now it is time to climb the watchtower. Chapter 3. The Predator's Gaze. When a wolf enters a clearing, it does not howl immediately.
It stands. It freezes. It scans the perimeter. It watches the wind in the trees. It watches the twitch of a deer's ear 100 yards away. It gathers data. Only when it knows exactly where everything is, the prey, the threats, the escape routes, does it move. Most human beings do the exact opposite. They walk into a room and immediately start broadcasting. They project their insecurity, their needs, and their opinions onto the environment before they have even taken the time to understand what the environment is. They are walking blindfolded into a minefield, hoping that if they talk loud enough, the mines won't explode.
You have spent the last 2 chapters learning how to shut your mouth and control your emotions. You have created a void. Now you must fill that void with information. This is the transition from passive silence to active silence. Passive silence is just not talking. Active silence is observation. It is the state of the hunter. Welcome to the predator's gaze. The moment you stop worrying about what you are going to say next, your brain frees up a massive amount of processing power. You stop being a transmitter and start being a receiver. And let me be clear, in the game of power, the person with the most information wins. Always. Information is ammunition. Every nervous tick you spot, every glance you intercept, every hesitation you hear in a voice, that is a bullet in your chamber. The more you watch, the more lethal you become. But you have to know how to look. Most people look, but do not see. They see surfaces. You are going to learn to see structures. Let's start with the concept of the baseline. To read a person, you must first establish their normal setting. Humans are creatures of habit. We have a default rhythm, a default tone of voice, a default posture. When you first meet someone, or when the stakes are low, simply watch them. How do they sit? Do they blink rapidly or slowly? Is their laugh loud or quiet? This is their baseline. Once you have the baseline, you are looking for deviations. Power lies in the anomaly. If a confident, loud-talking colleague suddenly becomes quiet when a specific topic is mentioned, that is a data point. Why did they shift? What are they hiding? What are they afraid of?
If a stoic, reserved client suddenly starts tapping their pen and talking faster, they are anxious. They have lost their leverage. The person who is busy talking misses these shifts. They are too busy thinking about their next witty comeback. But you, the silent observer, you catch it all. You see the crack in the armor the moment it appears. One of the most powerful things to observe is the hierarchy of the glance. Every group of humans, whether it's a board of directors, a group of friends, or a family dinner, has a hidden hierarchy. It is rarely the official org chart. The title on the business card tells you who should be in charge. The eyes tell you who is in charge. Here is how you spot the alpha in any room without them saying a word. Wait for a joke to be told or a controversial point to be made. When the group laughs or when the tension rises, watch the eyes. Immediately after the event, people will instinctively look at the person they seek validation from. They will look at the leader to see if he is laughing. They will look at the decision maker to see her reaction. The person who everyone looks at is the true center of gravity. Often, you'll find that the person doing the most talking is actually the lowest status person in the room. They are the jester. They are performing for the approval of the quiet person sitting at the end of the table. If you don't notice this, you might waste your time trying to impress the loudmouth, thinking he holds the keys. If you would use the predator's gaze, you would have known to direct your attention to the quiet decision maker.
You would have saved your energy for the target that matters. Now, let's move to the body. People can lie with their words. People can even lie with their faces.
We are taught from a young age to put on a happy face, but people rarely learn to lie with their feet. The feet are the most honest part of the body. They are the furthest from the brain, and they are governed by the limbic system, the fight-or-flight center. When you are talking to someone, look down. If their torso is facing you, but their feet are pointed toward the door, the conversation is over. They want to leave. They are physically signaling an exit. If you keep talking, you are annoying them. The power move here is to end the conversation first. I'll let you go. You assert control by granting them the escape they were secretly craving. If their feet are pointed to a specific person in the room, that is the person they are most interested in or the person they are most attracted to. Even if they are talking to you, if their feet point to her, their mind is with her. These are not magic tricks. This is biology. Let's talk about the tell. In poker, a tell is a subconscious habit that reveals the strength of a player's hand. In business and life, everyone has a tell. When someone is bluffing, when they are overstating their revenue or lying about their loyalty or pretending to be brave, their body undergoes stress. The brain is working hard to construct the lie, and that energy leaks out. Watch the hands. Self-soothing behaviors are a dead giveaway of insecurity. When a man feels threatened or unsure, he might touch his neck.
He might adjust his tie. He might rub the back of his head. These are defensive gestures. He is subconsciously protecting his vital areas, the jugular, or comforting himself. If you ask a tough question, "Can you actually deliver by Friday?" and he rubs his neck before saying yes, do not believe the yes. Believe the neck. Watch the blink rate. A sudden increase in blinking usually signals a spike in adrenaline. They are under pressure. Watch the lips. When we disagree or hold back a negative thought, we tend to compress our lips until they almost disappear. It is a physical manifestation of biting your tongue. If you see the lips disappear, stop pushing. You have hit a nerve. Change the angle of your attack. Now, why does this matter? Why do you need to know if someone is rubbing their neck or pointing their feet at the door? Because it gives you the ability to manipulate the flow of reality. When you operate with the predator's gaze, you are no longer guessing. You are navigating with a map. If you see that your opponent is stressed, you can choose to press harder to break them, or you can choose to back off to win their trust. You have the option. The blind man has no options. He only has luck. This level of observation also makes you incredibly charismatic. This sounds contradictory. How can staring at people make you charismatic? Because deep down, humans have a desperate need to be seen. Most people go through life feeling invisible. They feel like nobody understands them, nobody listens to them, nobody gets them. When you are silent and you are truly looking at someone, not staring creepily, but observing with intensity, they feel it. They feel your focus. It feels like a spotlight. You are giving them the gift of your attention. And because you aren't interrupting them with your own stories, they feel heard. You will find that you can say almost nothing in a conversation, just nodding and observing, and the other person will walk away saying, "Wow, he is a fascinating conversationalist." You didn't converse. You witnessed. You let them be the star, while you were the director. But there is a darker side to the predator's gaze, and it is one you must master for self-defense. You must learn to spot the predators looking at you. Not everyone in the room is a sheep. Occasionally, you will meet another wolf. You will meet someone else who is silent, observant, and controlled. When you lock eyes with this person, there is a moment of recognition. You know that they know. Do not be intimidated. This is a game of chicken. The amateur looks away first. Looking away is a submission signal. It exposes the neck. When you catch someone observing you, hold the gaze. Do not frown, do not smile, just hold it. Use the neutral gaze we discussed in Chapter 2. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Then slowly, deliberately, look away laterally. Do not look down. Looking down is submission. Looking to the side is dismissal. You are signaling, I see you, but you are not important enough to hold my attention. This subtle dance happens in boardrooms and bars every single day. 99% of people are oblivious to it, but the 1% who run the world are speaking this silent language constantly. To sharpen your gaze, you need to practice the detective game. Turn your daily commute or your coffee break into a training session. Sit in a public place. Pick a target, a couple arguing, a business meeting, a group of friends. Watch them. Turn off the sound in your head. Who is the dominant one? Who is the pleaser? Who is lying? Watch the couple. Is he leaning in or leaning back? Is she checking her phone or checking his eyes? Who is chasing whom? Watch the business meeting. Who is taking up the most space? Dominant people spread out. They put their arms on the empty chairs next to them. Submissive people shrink. They keep their elbows tucked in, their legs crossed tight, trying to occupy as little volume as possible. Predict what will happen next. He is going to get up and leave in 30 seconds. She is going to pay the bill. Test your intuition. The more you do this, the faster you will get. Soon you won't have to try to see these things. You will walk into a room and the data will just download into your brain. You will sense the energy currents instantly. This applies to digital communication as well. The predator's gaze works on text and email. Stop reading just the words. Read the timing. Read the structure. Did they reply instantly? They are eager or anxious. Did they wait 6 hours to reply with one word? They are power playing you, or they don't care. Did they use a lot of exclamation points? They are trying to manufacture friendliness because they feel uncomfortable asking for a favor. Read the white space. What didn't they say? If you ask, "Did you secure the contract and get the deposit?" and they reply, "We secured the contract," they didn't get the deposit. The omission is the truth. The loud person hears, "We secured the contract," and celebrates. The predator sees the missing half of the sentence and prepares for a problem. By seeing what is missing, you avoid traps. You avoid being blindsided. This level of awareness creates a barrier between you and the chaos of the world. You are no longer in the mosh pit, you are on the balcony. When you are in the mosh pit, you get elbowed in the face. You get sweaty, you get confused, you get pushed where the crowd wants you to go. When you're on the balcony, you see the patterns, you see the openings. You can descend when you choose, strike your target, and retreat before anyone knows what happened. This is the ultimate form of situational awareness. Most people live their lives in a fog of their own making. They are lost in their own heads, rehearsing arguments that will never happen, worrying about problems they cannot solve. They are sleepwalking. You are waking up. When you combine the silence of the tongue, Chapter 1, the silence of the emotion, Chapter 2, and the predator's gaze, Chapter 3, you become a formidable entity. You are a black hole in the room. You absorb light, sound, and information, but you give nothing back until you choose to. This creates a gravitational pull. People will start to gravitate toward you unsure why, but sensing that you possess something they lack. Certainty. But be warned, once you start seeing the world this way, you cannot unsee it. You will see the insecurity in your friends. You will see the manipulation in your partner. You will see the incompetence in your boss. It can be isolating. This is the burden of power. It is lonely at the top because the view is different. You must accept this. You are trading the comfortable blindness of the herd for the sharp, cold clarity of the hunter. You have gathered the intelligence. You know who is who. You know what they want. You know where the bodies are buried. Now, what do you do with this power? You do not use it to attack. Not yet. You use it to make yourself scarce. You use it to increase your value. In the next phase of this audiobook, we move from self-awareness to influence. We will discuss the art of absence. We will teach you how to take all this power you have built and withdraw it from the market, making people beg for your attention. The predator's gaze has taught you how to see the prey. The next chapter will teach you how to make the prey come to you. Keep your eyes open. The lesson continues. Chapter 4. The Art of Absence.
What is the most valuable thing in the world? Is it air? No. Air is vital. You will die without it in minutes, but it is free. It is everywhere. You don't think about it. You don't respect it. You assume it will always be there. Is it diamonds? Diamonds are useless. You can't eat them. You can't breathe them. They serve no biological function. Yet people kill for them. People spend 3 months' salary to buy a tiny rock to put on a finger. Why? Because diamonds are rare, because they are hard to get, because they are absent from 99.9% of the Earth's crust. This is the paradox of value. Abundance creates complacency. Scarcity creates desire. Now, look at yourself. Look at how you operate in your relationships, your job, and your social life. Are you a diamond or are you air?
Most of you are air. You are everywhere, all the time. You are constantly available. You answer the phone on the first ring. You reply to the email within 30 seconds. You say yes to every coffee date, every meeting, every favor. You post every meal on Instagram. You are a commodity. And because you are a commodity, the market, your boss, your partner, your friends, values you at zero cost. They know they don't have to work to keep you. They know you aren't going anywhere. You have made yourself cheap. Welcome to phase 2 of your transformation, the tactics of influence. In phase 1, we mastered the internal world. Now we begin to manipulate the external world. And the first lesson of influence is this: to increase your power, you must decrease your presence. You must learn the art of absence. This goes against everything the modern world teaches you. The world tells you to lean in. It tells you to hustle. It tells you that success belongs to the one who shows up early and stays late. There is a kernel of truth there. You must be competent. But competence without scarcity is just servitude. If you are the hardest worker who never leaves the office, you aren't a leader. You are a piece of furniture. You are reliable, yes, but you are not respected. You are taken for granted. Respect is not given to the servant who is always standing by the door. Respect is given to the guest who leaves early. Let's break down the psychology of the chase. Human beings are wired for the hunt. Our dopamine receptors, the pleasure centers of the brain, do not fire when we get what we want. They fire when we are pursuing what we want. The anticipation of the reward is chemically more powerful than the reward itself. When you are constantly available, you deny people the pleasure of anticipating you. You deny them the thrill of the chase. You are a movie that starts playing before they even bought the ticket. To regain your power, you must learn to withdraw. You must create a vacuum that pulls people in. This starts with your time. Stop being the person who is always free. When someone asks, "Can you meet on Tuesday?" do not say, "Sure, I'm free all day." "I'm free all day" is a signal of low status. It implies you have nothing going on. It implies your time is worthless. Instead, pause. Check a calendar, even if it's empty. Say, "Tuesday is tight. I have a window at 2 p.m. Does that work for you?" Suddenly, that 2 p.m. slot is a prize. You have framed your time as a limited resource. The other person feels lucky to get it. They will show up on time. They will prepare. They will treat the interaction with weight. This is not lying. This is boundary setting. You are prioritizing yourself, which is the hallmark of a high-value individual. Now, let's apply this to the concept of the Irish exit. We have all been to a party or a networking event where the energy starts to die. The music gets lower, people start looking at their watches, the conversation runs dry. And yet most people stay. They linger. They stand around awkwardly, waiting for permission to leave or waiting for the right moment. The master of absence leaves at the peak. You leave when the conversation is still good. You leave when the energy is high.
You say, "This has been fantastic, but I have to run. Great seeing you." And you walk away. What have you done? You have left them wanting more. You have associated your presence with the high point of the night. If you stay until the end, until the boredom sets in, you associate your presence with the boredom. Leave them hungry. Never let them get full of you. Familiarity breeds contempt, but mystery breeds obsession. This brings us to strategic mystery. In an era of radical transparency, where people tweet their mental breakdowns and stream their breakfast, the person who remains private is an enigma. Privacy is power. If you tell everyone everything about your life, your struggles, your childhood trauma, your financial situation, your exact schedule, you have given them the manual to your destruction. You have given them all the buttons to push. Furthermore, you have become boring. There is nothing left to discover. Be a closed book. When people ask, "What did you do this weekend?" do not give them a play-by-play. "I relaxed. I worked on a project. I went out of town." Keep it vague. Let them fill in the blanks. When the human brain encounters a gap in information, it fills that gap with fantasy. They will imagine you doing something far more interesting than you actually did. They will project their own desires onto your blank canvas. You become larger than life because you are not shrinking yourself to fit into a status update. This is particularly lethal in negotiation and business. If a client or a boss knows you are desperate for the money, you have no leverage. If they know you have no other options, they can lowball you.
But if you practice the art of absence, they don't know. Maybe you have other offers. Maybe you don't need the money. Maybe you are ready to walk away. Silence and absence create the illusion of options, and the person with the most options holds the power. There's a powerful negotiation tactic called the pullback. When a deal is dragging on, when the other party is nitpicking or stalling, do not chase them. Do not send checking in emails. Do not lower your price. Disappear. Go dark for 3 days. No emails, no calls. The other party will panic. Did we lose him? Did he go to a competitor? Did we push too hard? Their imagination will do the work for you. Suddenly, they are the ones chasing. They come back with a better offer. They come back with urgency. You reclaim the power by being willing to walk away. This leads to a hard truth. You must be willing to walk away from anything. If you could not walk away from a negotiation, you have already lost. If you could not walk away from a toxic relationship, you are a prisoner. If you could not walk away from a job that disrespects you, you are a slave. The ultimate form of absence is the permanent exit. But before you get there, you use temporary absence as a calibration tool. Let's look at the digital leash. Your phone is a leash. Anyone with your number can tug on it and you respond. You interrupt your work, your gym session, your reading to look at a notification from someone who adds zero value to your life. Cut the leash. Turn on Do Not Disturb and leave it on. Check your messages on your schedule, not there.
When you reply to a text 3 hours later without an apology, you're silently communicating, "My life in the real world is more important than my life on this screen." This signals high status. Low-status people live on their phones because they're escaping their reality. High-status people are engaged in their reality, so the phone is a distraction. When you are always available by text, you're a distinct lack of challenge. In dating, this is the friend zone trap. The nice guy thinks that by being constantly available, he is showing devotion. He thinks he is earning points. In reality, he is showing that he has no mission. A man with a mission is busy. He is occupied. He is not staring at his phone waiting for a crumb of attention. If you want to be desired, you must be a moving target. You must be going somewhere. People want to attach themselves to a comment, not a parked car. Now, a warning. The art of absence is not about being a jerk. It is not about ignoring people to be cruel. It is about protecting your value. When you are present, be 100% present. This is the flip side of the coin. Because you are rare, your presence must be impactful. When you do show up to the meeting, you must be the most focused person there. When you do go on the date, you must be charming, attentive, and engaged. Phone away, eye contact locked. This contrast creates an addiction. He is hard to get a hold of, but when he's here, he makes me feel amazing. That is the formula for charisma. That is the formula for influence. If you are hard to get a hold of, and when you show up you are boring and distracted, you are just arrogant. Nobody will chase you, they will just delete your number. You must be high value and high scarcity. Let's practice the vacuum. In any relationship, business or personal, there is a dynamic of space. Usually, one person pushes and the other pulls. One person pursues, the other retreats. If you feel like you are always the one initiating, always the one carrying the conversation, always the one making the plans, stop. Create a vacuum. Stop initiating. Stop texting first. Stop asking, "What are we doing this weekend?" Just stop. It will feel terrifying. You will think, "If I stop rowing, the boat will sink." Let it sink. Or watch what usually happens. The other person realizes the rowing has stopped. They look up. They feel the vacuum, and they pick up the oars. They text you, "Hey, haven't heard from you." They ask, "Are you okay?" They plan the date. By withdrawing, you gave them the space to step up. You cannot be chased if you are the one doing the running. Turn around. Stand still. Let them come to you. If they don't come, if you create the vacuum and they never fill it, then you have your answer. They were never invested. You were carrying dead weight. And by walking away, you have saved yourself months or years of wasted effort. That is a victory. Absence clarifies. It acts as a filter. It removes the people who are only there because you are making it easy for them. It keeps the people who value you enough to make an effort. Consider the sun. We love the sun.
But if the sun never set, the earth would burn. We would curse it. We need the night. We need the absence of the sun to appreciate the day. You have been shining too bright, too long, on people who are getting sunburned by your neediness. Give them the night. Give them the cold. Let them miss the warmth of your approval. There is a term in economics, Gresham's law. It states that bad money drives out good. If you flood the market with low-quality interactions, gossip, complaining, idle chatter, you drive out the high-quality interactions. Withdraw your participation in the low-level noise. When the office gossip starts, walk away. I have work to do. When the group chat descends into negativity, mute it. When the argument goes in circles, hang up. Your absence from the nonsense sends a louder message than any lecture could. It says, "I am above this." People will start to curate their behavior around you. They will learn that if they want your presence, they have to level up. They have to bring value or you will vanish. You are training the world on how to treat you. If you tolerate wasted time, you will get wasted time. If you tolerate disrespect, you will get disrespect. But if you punish bad behavior with the ultimate punishment, the removal of your attention, you will see a shift. Attention is the currency of the modern age. Advertisers pay billions for it. Social media platforms engineer algorithms to steal it. You are giving yours away for free. Stop. Hoard your attention. Treat it like gold bullion in a vault. Only spend it on things that give you a return on investment. As you implement the art of absence, you will feel a shift in your own psychology.
You will stop feeling like a beggar. You will start feeling like a king. A king does not beg for an audience. The audience begs for the king. You are building a reputation. He is hard to reach. He is focused. He doesn't have time for fluff. This reputation precedes you. When you walk into a room, that reputation opens doors. People sit up straighter. They get to the point. They respect your time because you respected it first. So here is your challenge for the next week. Say no to 3 things you would usually say yes to out of guilt. Wait at least 3 hours to reply to non-urgent texts. Leave one social event while you are still having fun. Feel the anxiety of doing this. Acknowledge it. And then feel the power that comes right after it. The power of being the one who decides when the interaction begins and when it ends. You have learned to observe. You have learned to withdraw. Now you are a scarce resource. You are valuable. But what happens when you must engage? What happens when you are backed into a corner and silence is not enough? What happens when you need to deliver a blow? You do not yell. You do not scream. you use a different kind of weapon. In the next chapter, we will discuss the velvet hammer. We will learn how to win conflicts and negotiations without ever raising your voice. We will learn how to use uncomfortable silence as a tool of aggression. You have learned to leave the room. Now, let's learn how to own it. Chapter 5, The Velvet Hammer. There is a misconception that to be tough, you must be rough. We see it in movies.
The tough guy flips the table. The tough guy gets in someone's face. The tough guy shouts until the veins in his neck bulge. In the real world, the guy who flips the table is not tough. He is hysterical. He has lost the plot. He is a child throwing a tantrum because he doesn't know how to get what he wants. True lethality in conflict does not look like a sledgehammer. It looks like a velvet hammer. It is soft to the touch. It is polite. It is calm. It is wrapped in courtesy. But when it strikes, it breaks bone. Welcome to the art of winning without raising your voice. In the previous chapters, you learned to control your internal state and to make yourself scarce. Now, we enter the arena of direct conflict. Negotiation, argument, confrontation. These are the moments where your heart rate spikes. These are the moments where the amateur gets loud and the master gets quiet. The fundamental principle of the velvet hammer is this: contrast creates impact. If someone is screaming at you and you scream back, you have created zero contrast. You are just two idiots making noise. You have validated their behavior. You have engaged on their level. But if someone is screaming at you and you lower your voice to a whisper, you have created a chasm. The contrast between their chaos and your order is so sharp that it makes them look insane. It highlights their lack of control. You become the mirror that reflects their ugliness back at them simply by refusing to participate in it. Let's talk about the physics of an argument. An argument requires two people pushing against each other. It is like a tug of war. If you drop the rope, the other person falls on their face. When someone attacks you verbally, they are expecting resistance. They are preparing for you to defend yourself. You messed up this report. They expect you to say, "No, I didn't. It was Bob's fault." Instead, you use the velvet hammer. You agree with the truth, or you ask a question. You messed up this report. You pause. You look at them. You're right. It is not up to my standard. It will be fixed by noon. Boom. The wind is out of their sails. They had a whole speech prepared about how irresponsible you are. They had 10 minutes of anger queued up. You stole it from them. You agreed, took responsibility, and provided a solution in 3 sentences. There is nothing left for them to fight. You won by surrendering the ego battle to win the war of outcome. But let's look at a more aggressive scenario: negotiation. This is where the velvet hammer is most profitable. In a negotiation, whether for a salary, a car, or a business deal, the person who speaks the most usually loses. The person who feels the need to fill the silence gives away value. Let's say the other party names a price. We can offer you $50,000. The amateur says, "Oh, I was hoping for $60,000 because," and starts explaining. The master uses the velvet hammer. He hears $50,000. He pauses. He looks at the offer. He looks at the person. And he says nothing. He waits. This is the strategic silence. It is an aggressive act. It creates a vacuum of immense pressure. The other person is sitting there. 3 seconds pass. 5 seconds, 7 seconds. In their head, panic sets in.
Did I offend him? Is the offer too low? Is he going to walk away? The silence becomes unbearable. They feel the compulsion to fix it, so they speak. I mean, we might have some wiggle room to get to $55,000. You just made $5,000 by keeping your mouth shut for 7 seconds. That is the highest hourly rate you will ever earn. When you finally speak, you do it softly. I appreciate the movement, but I think we both know the value here is closer to $65,000. You are polite, you are gentle, But you are immovable. This is the soft no. You never say no with aggression. You say, I'm afraid that doesn't work for me. You say, I wish I could, but I can't. It sounds kind. It sounds like you are on their side, lamenting the impossibility of their request. But the result is the same. You are not doing it. Hard barriers, soft words. This confuses people. They're used to barriers coming with spikes. When they run into a wall that is covered in velvet, they don't realize they have hit a wall until they try to push through it and can't. Let's discuss the tone of voice. There is a specific frequency of authority. It is low, slow, and descending. When people are insecure, their voice goes up at the end of a sentence, like they are asking a question. This is called uptalk. It signals submission. It seeks approval. The velvet hammer descends. The pitch goes down at the end of the sentence. It is a statement of fact. We are not going to do that. Pitch drops. Practice this. Record yourself. Do you sound like you are asking for permission to speak? Or do you sound like you are delivering the news? And when the tension is highest, the volume must be lowest. If you are furious, whisper. There is nothing more terrifying than a person who is visibly angry but speaking in a whisper. It suggests a level of self-control that borders on the psychopathic. It suggests that you are holding back a beast. If you shout, you are the beast. If you whisper, you are the master of the beast. People fear the master. They just hunt the beast. Now, how do you handle disrespect? Someone makes a snide comment in a meeting. A friend makes a joke at your expense. The velvet hammer does not laugh it off. Submission. It does not explode. Insecurity. It highlights the disrespect with surgical precision. The technique is called the literal interpretation. Someone says, "Nice shirt. Did you get it from the 90s?" You look at them. You don't smile. "No, I bought it last week." Why do you ask? You treat their joke as a serious question. You force them to explain the punchline. "Oh, I was just joking." "I see. What was the joke?" Now they are dying. They have to explain that they were trying to be mean. The humor evaporates. They look petty. You look confused and serious. You have dismantled them without ever being mean. You just asked a question. Or use the repeat back. Someone interrupts you. You stop. You wait for them to finish. Then you say, "I'm sorry, I was speaking. Did you mean to interrupt me?" You say it gently, with genuine curiosity. "Did you mean to interrupt me?" It is a devastating question. If they say yes, they're a jerk. Chapter 6. Thunder without sound. Lightning strikes before you hear the thunder. The speed of light is faster than the speed of sound. The destructive force, the energy, the impact, it all happens in a split second of blinding silence. The noise comes later. The noise is just the aftershock. The noise is the universe announcing what has already happened. Most people have this physics equation backward. They bring the thunder first. They make the noise. They rumble. They announce, "I am going to strike. I am going to change the world. I am going to get in shape. I am going to build an empire." And then, nothing. No lightning. No impact. Just a lot of loud, empty weather. Welcome to the discipline of thunder without sound. We live in the era of the announcement. Social media has weaponized our desire for validation, training us to seek applause for intention rather than execution. You buy the running shoes, post a picture of them, and get 50 likes. You feel good. You feel like a runner. But you haven't run a single mile. You haven't broken a sweat. You have received the reward before doing the work. This is not just annoying behavior. It is a chemical disaster for your brain. When you announce a goal to the world, your brain releases dopamine. It gives you a sense of completion. Psychologically, your mind registers the task as done because you have already received the social recognition for it.
The tension, the agonizing necessary tension that drives you to work, is released. You deflated the balloon before it could fly. To show your power, you must become a vault. You must learn to carry the burden of your ambition in total silence until the moment of completion. Let's talk about the concept of potential energy. In physics, a drawn bowstring has potential energy. The further back you pull it, the more tension you create, and the further the arrow will fly. Talking is like letting the string slip forward a few inches at a time. Every time you tell a friend about your big plan, you release a little bit of that tension. You slacken the string. By the time you are ready to shoot, there is no power left in the bow. The arrow falls at your feet. You need to hold the tension. You need to let it build. You need to walk around with the secret that is burning a hole in your pocket. There is a profound power in knowing something that nobody else knows. When you are working on a massive project and you sit at a dinner party and people ask you, "What's new?" and you simply say, "Same old, same old," you are holding the string. You know that in 6 months, your life is going to change. You know that you are building something that will shock them. But right now, you let them think you are stagnant. You let them underestimate you. This is the shadow work. Shadow work is the grind that happens in the dark. It is the practice sessions at 4 a.m. It is the business plan written on weekends while your friends are at the bar. It is the unglamorous, lonely, repetitive action that builds the foundation of a skyscraper. Nobody takes a picture of the foundation. It is buried underground. It is covered in dirt. But without it, the building collapses. You are currently obsessed with the facade, the part people see. I want you to become obsessed with the foundation, the part that holds the weight. Why is silence so critical for execution? First, it protects you from the saboteur. The saboteur comes in 2 forms. The enemy is obvious. If you announce your moves, you tell your competition exactly how to block you. If you say, "I am going to launch a product that does X," a competitor can steal the idea and launch it first. If you say, "I am going for that promotion," a rival colleague can start poisoning the well with the boss. General Sun Tzu said, "Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. If they cannot see you, they cannot fight you." But the friend is often more dangerous. When you tell your friends and family your big goals, they will often try to save you. "Are you sure that's a good idea? That sounds risky. Why don't you just be happy with what you have?" They are projecting their own fears onto you. They love you and they want you to be safe, but greatness is not safe. By exposing your fragile early-stage ideas to their doubt, you allow their fear to infect you. You start to second-guess yourself. You start to justify your dreams. A lion does not explain his hunt to the sheep, and he definitely doesn't explain it to the other lions until the kill is made. You must insulate your ambition. Your goal is a flame. The world is a wind. If you uncover the flame too early, the wind will blow it out. Shield it. Cup your hands around it. Let it grow into a bonfire. Once it is a bonfire, the wind will only make it burn hotter. But until then, protect it with silence. Second, silence creates the reveal. There is nothing more powerful in the human social hierarchy than a sudden, unexplained level up. Imagine you disappear for 6 months. You stop posting, you stop going out drinking, you are elusive. People think you have fallen off. Then you re-emerge. You are 20 pounds lighter, you are driving a new car. You have launched a company, you speak a new language. The shock wave of that reveal is massive. People are terrified by it. They think, how did he do that? When did he do that? Because they didn't see the process, the result seems like magic. It seems like you possess a superpower. If you had documented every step, day 1 at the gym, day 4 feeling tired,
Day 30, lost 2 pounds. They would have seen the struggle. They would have seen the effort. It would look human. It would look achievable. By hiding the effort, you make the result look effortless. This is the essence of sprezzatura, the Italian art of making the difficult look easy. You want people to think you are naturally gifted. You want them to think you just woke up like this. You know the truth. You paid the price in blood and sweat in the dark, but you never show them the receipt. Let the results be the only noise. If you are rich, your bank account is the noise. You don't need to talk about money. If you are strong, your physique is the noise. You don't need to wear a shirt that says beast mode. If you are smart, your solutions are the noise. You don't need to list your degrees.
When the thunder speaks, you don't need to add a commentary track. So, how do you cultivate this habit of thunder without sound? 1. Kill the accountability trap. We are often told we need accountability partners. We need to tell people our goals so they will shame us if we fail. For most people, this is a crutch. It is weakness. You should not need another grown adult to tell you to do your work. Your self-respect should be the only accountability you need. If you need to tell someone you are going to the gym to force yourself to go, you have already lost. You are operating out of fear of social embarrassment, not out of internal drive. Internal drive is silent. It is a fire that burns without oxygen from the outside. Try this. Set a massive goal for the next 90 days and tell absolutely no one, not your spouse, not your best friend, not your mother. Carry the weight of that secret. Wake up every morning knowing you are on a covert mission. If you fail, nobody will know. And that is the scary part. You won't have the excuse of saying, "Well, I tried." You will have to sit alone with your failure. That pressure is real. That pressure will forge you. And if you succeed, the victory is entirely yours. You didn't do it for the applause. You did it for the mastery. 2. Answer vaguely. People will ask questions. They are nosy. What are you working on? What are your plans for the year? You need a cover story. A boring, plausible answer that puts them to sleep. Oh, just focusing on stability right now. Trying to get through the backlog at work. Deflect. Pivot. Ask them about themselves. People love talking about themselves. Enough about me. I saw you went to Italy. How was it? Now they are talking. You are safe. You are back in the shadows, observing while they reveal their hand. 3. Embrace the hermit phase. Periodically, you must disappear. In the hero's journey, the hero always leaves the village. He goes into the wilderness. He goes into the cave. He changes, and then he returns. You cannot change while you are still engaged in the daily noise of your old life. You need separation. This might mean deleting social media apps from your phone for a month. It might mean declining all social invitations for a season. Tell people, "I'm in a sprint right now. I'll see you on the other side." Those who respect you will wait. Those who don't will fall away. Good riddance. During this hermit phase, you are pure kinetic energy. You are moving, you are doing, you are not discussing. There is a tactile pleasure in doing work that nobody sees. Write the book, build the code, lift the weight. There is a spiritual density to it. You are not performing, you are becoming. 4. Beware of fake progress. In the corporate world, this is called motion versus action. Motion is planning, strategizing, organizing, and talking. It feels like work, but it produces no result. Action is doing the thing that produces the result. Designing a logo is motion. Calling 10 prospects is action. Researching diet plans is motion. Throwing out the junk food and eating chicken and broccoli is action. The cult of noise loves motion. You can talk about motion. I'm researching, I'm planning, I'm strategizing. It sounds smart. Thunder without sound is pure action. Stop preparing to start. Stop getting ready to get ready. Just strike. If you want to write, write. If you want to sell, sell. Do it poorly, do it quietly, but do it. 5. The paradox of praise. Here is a dangerous truth. Praise can be as destructive as criticism.
When you're early in your journey and you tell someone and they say, "Wow, that's amazing. You're so talented," you might believe them. You might think you've arrived. You might get complacent. You might start protecting your reputation instead of taking risks. When you work in silence, you get no praise. You get no feedback. You are flying blind. This forces you to develop your own internal compass. You have to decide if the work is good. You have to be your own harshest critic. This builds true confidence. Confidence that comes from external praise is fragile. It breaks when the praise stops. Confidence that comes from your own judgment is iron. It cannot be taken from you. Let's look at the ultimate example of thunder without sound, the Grand Master. Watch a Grand Master play chess. They do not trash talk. They do not slam the pieces. They sit perfectly still. Their face is a mask. Inside their mind, a storm is raging. They are calculating 10 moves ahead. They are simulating hundreds of scenarios. The cognitive load is immense. But on the outside, silence. Then they reach out. They move a single pawn. Checkmate. The game is over. The opponent didn't see it coming until the trap snapped shut. You want to be the Grand Master of your life. You want your moves to be so subtle, so quiet, that people don't realize you are winning until you have already won. This requires you to kill your ego.
Your ego wants to be recognized now. Your ego wants credit for the work you intend to do. Your ego wants to be the main character in the movie. Tell your ego to shut up. Tell your ego to wait. Promise your ego we will get the applause, but we will get it at the finish line, not the starting line. Think about the most powerful forces in nature. Gravity. It is silent. It holds the universe together. It never stops working. The tectonic plates. They move inches a year silently, deep underground. And then, earthquake. They reshape continents. Be like the tectonic plates, relentless, invisible, inevitable. When you adopt this philosophy, you become dangerous. People will look at you and they won't be able to figure out why you seem different. You seem heavier. You seem more grounded. It's because you are full of secrets. You are full of potential energy. You are a walking storm cloud, waiting for the right moment to discharge. And when you finally do, when you finally launch the project, or unveil the physique, or sign the deal, do not gloat. Do not say, "I told you so." Just smile, nod, and move on to the next silent mission. Because the true master knows that the noise of success is just an echo. The real power was in the silence of the work. You have now learned to control your tongue, your emotions, your observation, your availability, and your actions. You are becoming a fortress. But there is one more layer to this phase of influence. You must learn how to command space without speaking. You must learn how to use your physical vessel to dominate a room before you even open your mouth. In the next chapter, we will discuss the unspoken command. We will break down the nonverbal language of power, posture, eye contact, and the speed of movement. We will teach you how to occupy space like a king, not a courtier. The lightning has struck. Now, let us look at the aftermath. Chapter 7. The unspoken command. You are being judged before you open your mouth. Science tells us that the human brain makes a decision about a stranger within 1/10 of a second of seeing their face. Before you have said hello, before you have shaken a hand, before you have presented a single slide of your presentation, the verdict has been rendered. Are you a threat? Are you a resource? Are you a leader? Or are you a subordinate? This judgment happens in the limbic system, the ancient, primitive part of the brain that does not understand language. It only understands shapes, speed, and space. If you are relying on your words to command respect, you are starting the race 50 yards behind the starting line. You are trying to use logic to overturn a biological instinct. Welcome to the unspoken command. This chapter is about the physics of presence. It is about how to hack the primitive brain of everyone you meet, forcing them to categorize you as high status instantly without you having to earn it through argument. We're going to dismantle the way you sit, the way you stand, the way you walk, and the way you look at people. We're going to strip away the physical habits of the victim and install the physical operating system of the victor. Let's begin with the most fundamental law of the animal kingdom. Space equals status. Look at a silverback gorilla. Look at a CEO.
Look at a king on a throne. What do they have in common? They expand. They take up space. Their arms are wide. Their legs are apart. They are comfortable occupying the territory around them. They treat the environment as if they own it. Now, look at the anxious person. Look at the subordinate. They shrink. They cross their legs tightly. They wrap their arms around their torso, protecting their vital organs. They hunch their shoulders. They keep their elbows glued to their ribs. They place their phone and their notebook in a tiny pile right in front of them, terrified of encroaching on anyone else's territory. This is the physical manifestation of an apology. You are apologizing for existing. You are signaling, I will not take up resources. Please do not hurt me. To show your power, you must declare war on shrinking. The next time you sit in a meeting, I want you to conduct a space audit. Uncross your legs. Plant your feet firmly on the floor, shoulder width apart. This is your base. It signals stability. A person with crossed legs is easily toppled. A person with planted feet is grounded. Take your arms away from your torso. Put one arm on the back of the empty chair next to you. Put your notebook a foot further away on the table. Spread out. This is claiming the real estate. When you expand your physical footprint, you subconsciously signal that you have a right to be there. You trigger a primitive respect in the people around you. They will feel, without knowing why, that you are the center of gravity. This applies to standing as well. Most people stand with their feet close together, swaying slightly, hands in their pockets.
They look like a stiff wind could blow them over. Widen your stance. Take your hands out of your pockets. Expose your torso. When you cover your torso with your arms, you are blocking a perceived attack. When you leave your chest open, you are signaling, I am not afraid of you. I have nothing to protect from you. This is the posture of the vulnerable warrior. It is the ultimate arrogance. It says, strike me if you dare. I am not worried. Now let's talk about the speed of power. There is a direct correlation between speed and status. The higher the status, the slower the movement. Think about it. Who runs? The person who is late, the person who is being chased, the person who is fetching coffee for the boss. Who walks slowly? The boss, the predator, the person who knows that the meeting cannot start until they arrive. Rushing is a poverty mindset. It implies that you are a slave to time or a slave to someone else's schedule. It implies anxiety. It implies that you are scrambling to keep up. Slowness implies luxury. It implies that you own time. I want you to experiment with the underwater method. Imagine you are moving through water. There is a resistance. Every movement must be deliberate. When you turn your head to look at someone, do not snap it. Snapping your neck is a reflex. It is a startle response. Turn your head slowly, smoothly. Lock onto them like a turret. When you walk down the hallway, slow your cadence by 10%. Stop dodging people. Walk in a straight line. You will be amazed to see that if you walk with a slow, heavy, determined rhythm, people will move out of your way. They will part like the Red Sea. They move because your momentum signals that you are an unstoppable object.
If you dodge and weave, you signal that you are a light object, easily deflected. This applies to your hands as well. Nervous people have jittery hands. They talk with fast, choppy gestures. They are chopping the air, trying to frantically illustrate their point. Powerful people use the baton. Imagine you are conducting an orchestra. Your movements are fluid. They are controlled. When you make a point, your hand moves with weight. It lands, and it stays there. Do not flail. Do not chop. Flow. This leads us to the enemy of power, the leak. We talked about verbal leaks in Chapter 1. Now we talk about physical leaks. A physical leak is any repetitive movement that serves no purpose other than to release nervous energy. Bouncing your knee under the table, clicking your pen, touching your face, playing with your ring, adjusting your tie, fixing your hair. Every single one of these is a distress signal. It is your body screaming, "I am uncomfortable, I am anxious, I am trying to soothe myself." And the people watching you pick up on it. They might not say he is bouncing his knee, but they will feel, "This guy is nervous. I can push him." You must master the art of the statue. Can you sit in a chair for 10 minutes without moving a single muscle? Can you listen to someone criticize you without touching your face? The ability to be absolutely still is rare. It is unnerving. When you are perfectly still, you become a blank screen. People project their own thoughts onto you. They get intimidated because they cannot read your micro-movements.
There is no data for them to analyze. Also, avoid the self-touch. In psychology, touching your own neck, throat, or face is a pacifying behavior. We do it to lower our heart rate. When you are in a high-stakes negotiation, keep your hands away from your head. Keep them on the table or on the armrests. If you feel the urge to touch your neck, squeeze your leg instead. Do not show the soothing mechanism to the opponent. Now, let's discuss the most potent weapon in your nonverbal arsenal, the eyes. Eye contact is not just about looking at someone. It is about the quality of the gaze. Most people have soft eyes. They look, but they don't see. They glance away the moment there is tension. You must develop the laser. When someone is speaking to you, give them 100% of your visual focus. Do not look at your phone. Do not look at the person walking past. Burn a hole in their pupils. This makes people feel important, but it also makes them feel exposed. It puts them under the microscope. There's a specific technique for dominance called the triangle. When you look at friends or people you want to be friendly with, you look at their eyes and their mouth. You form a triangle that points down. This is the social gaze. To show power, you flip the triangle. You look at one eye, then the other eye, then the spot in the middle of their forehead. You never look down at the mouth. You stay in the upper zone. This is the power gaze. It is subtle, but it feels incredibly intense to the receiver. It feels like you are analyzing their thoughts, not just listening to their words. And what happens when you need to break eye contact? This is critical. Never look down. Looking down is submission. It is cutting the connection because the heat was too high. It signals shame or surrender. When you break eye contact, look to the side, look up, look laterally. I am looking away because I am thinking, not because I am afraid. Practice this with strangers. When you pass someone on the street, hold their gaze. Wait for them to look away first. If they don't, you simply pan your eyes to the horizon. You never drop them to the pavement. This rewires your brain. It tells your subconscious that you are the alpha in the interaction. Let's move to the entry. How you enter a room sets the tone for everything that follows. Most people sneak into a room. They open the door just enough to slide through, they keep their head down, and they quickly find a seat to blend in. They are trying not to interrupt. The master uses the frame pause. When you open the door, push it all the way open. Step into the frame and stop. Pause for 2 seconds. Look at the room. Let the room look at you. This is a territorial claim. You are saying, "I have arrived." The dynamic has changed.
It takes courage. Those 2 seconds will feel like a lifetime. You will feel arrogant, but to the room, you just look confident. You look like you belong there. Then, walk to your seat using the slow, deliberate pace we discussed. Do not rush to the seat. The seat is not a life raft. The seat is just a place you are choosing to sit. And when you sit, do not plop.
Do not collapse into the chair. Lower yourself. Control the descent. It sounds obsessive, but these micro movements add up. A king sits differently than a peasant. A general sits differently than a private. Let's talk about the lean. There is a common piece of advice to lean in to show interest. This is true for building rapport, but for showing power, leaning in is often a sign of neediness. You are leaning in because you want something. You are chasing the approval of the speaker. Power often leans back. Think of the skepticism of a judge. They lean back. They steeple their fingers. They evaluate. When you are in a negotiation and the other person is pitching you, lean back. Open up the distance. This signals that you are not sold yet. It forces them to work harder. It forces them to bridge the gap and come to you. If you lean in too early, you signal that you are already bought. You lose your leverage. Use the lean strategically. Lean back to judge. Lean forward to deliver the verdict. When you finally decide to speak, lean in slowly. This physical shift underscores that what you are about to say is important. It adds weight to your words. Now, a word on the nod. Many nice people are bobbleheads. They nod constantly while the other person is talking. Yes, right, exactly, yes. They think they are being encouraging. Actually, they are looking submissive. They are signaling, I agree with everything. Please like me. Stop nodding. Keep your head still. Listen with a stone face. Only nod when you actually agree with a specific point or when you want them to continue. Make the nod rare. Make it earned.
When you stop nodding at everything, people wonder what you are thinking. They work harder to convince you. They start looking for your approval, instead of assuming they already have it. Finally, we must address the concept of physical unreactivity. This ties back to the Stoic pause, but purely in the body. If there is a loud noise, do you jump? If someone drops a glass, do you flinch? If someone slams their hand on the table, do you recoil? The unspoken command requires a dampening of the startle reflex. This is hardwired biology, but you can train it. You can train yourself to be the rock in the river. When chaos erupts around you, your body should be the last one to move. Imagine a restaurant where a waiter drops a tray of dishes. Crash! Everyone's heads snap instantly to the noise. The powerful person continues their conversation or turns their head slowly to assess. By not reacting instantly to stimuli, you signal that you are not easily threatened. You signal that you have seen it all before. This is cool. What we call cool is simply a low level of reactivity. James Bond is cool because the building explodes and he adjusts his cufflinks. He does not flinch. You can practice this in small ways. When your phone buzzes, do not check it instantly. When the elevator dings, do not rush the door. When someone calls your name, finish your thought before turning. Impose your own rhythm on the world. Let's synthesize all of this into a character. I want you to imagine you are wearing a heavy cloak. It weighs 50 pounds. If you were wearing that cloak, how would you move? You would move slowly. You would sit heavily. You wouldn't fidget.
You wouldn't turn your head quickly. You would take up space to balance the weight. Walk through your life wearing the invisible cloak of authority. You will feel resistance. Your old habits will try to make you shrink. Your old anxieties will try to make you fidget. But remember this, the body dictates the mind. This is the principle of embodied cognition. If you force your body into a posture of power, feet wide, chin up, slow breath, your brain will actually release testosterone. You will feel more powerful. You are not just acting, you are biohacking your own confidence. By the time you master the unspoken command, you will find that you have to speak far less.
You will walk into a room and the chatter will die down. You will look at a waiter and they will come immediately. You will sit in a meeting and people will direct their questions to you, even if you aren't the chair. They are responding to the signal. They are responding to the lion who has entered the clearing. You have mastered the silence of the voice and now the silence of the body. You are a fortress of control. But there is one final frontier, the most difficult one. You can trick others. You can control your face. You can control your hands. But can you control the need for the world to understand you? Can you control the desire to be right? True power is not just about dominating others. It is about absolute independence from them. In the next phase, we ascend to mastery. We begin with the sovereign mind. We will explore the freedom of not needing validation, not needing permission, and not needing to be understood. We will learn how to detach from the opinions of the sheep entirely. Stand up, fix your posture, walk slowly to the next chapter. Chapter 8. The Sovereign Mind. We have arrived at the final gate. We have stripped away the nervous chatter. We have disciplined the reactive emotions. We have sharpened the gaze. We have commanded the body. But there is one chain left to break. It is the thickest, heaviest, and most invisible chain of all. It is the addiction to being understood. Most of you are walking through life begging the world to get you. You want your partner to understand your stress. You want your boss to understand your effort. You want your friends to understand your choices. When they don't, when they misinterpret your silence for arrogance or your boundaries for selfishness, you panic. You scramble to correct the record. You pour out words and energy to fix the image of yourself in their minds. You are a slave to their perception. As long as your internal peace depends on external understanding, you do not have power. You have a lease, and the landlord, the crowd, can evict you at any moment. Welcome to the sovereign mind. To be sovereign means to be supreme. A sovereign nation does not ask its neighbors for permission to pass laws. It does not apologize for its borders. It exists. It is self-governing. A sovereign mind is a mind that has declared independence from the good opinion of others. This is the state of mastery. It is the point where you stop trying to convince people of your worth and you simply exist in your worth. Let's confront a brutal truth. Most people will never understand you. If you are ambitious, the lazy will not understand you. If you are disciplined, the chaotic will not understand you. If you are a visionary, the practical will not understand you. Attempting to explain yourself to them is like trying to explain the concept of color to a man who has been blind since birth. It is a waste of spirit. It is an act of insecurity. The weak person thinks, if they misunderstand me, I am unsafe. The powerful person thinks, let them misunderstand. It changes nothing. This is the mantra you must burn into your brain. I am okay with being wrong about me. Imagine the freedom of that. Imagine someone calling you greedy because you negotiated hard. Instead of launching a defense about how you give to charity and support your family, you just think, okay, they think I'm greedy. You don't accept their truth. You just accept their right to be wrong. You leave their opinion over there on their pile of mental garbage, and you walk away clean. This is the Teflon mind. Nothing sticks unless you grab it. The root of this need for understanding is a lack of emotional autarky. Autarky is an economic term. It means a nation that is self-sufficient. It produces its own food, its own fuel, its own weapons. It does not need to trade to survive. Most people are emotional importers. They import validation. They import comfort. They import their sense of identity from the compliments and feedback of others. If the trade routes are cut, if the praise stops, they starve. You must become an emotional
exporter. You must generate your own validation. You must be the source of your own esteem. When you look in the mirror and you know you did the work, that must be enough. If the world claps, fine. If the world boos, fine. The work is the same. The value is the same. This is what makes a leader terrifyingly effective. A leader who needs to be liked can be manipulated. All the team has to do is withhold their approval, and the leader will fold. The leader will make soft decisions. The leader will avoid hard conversations. A sovereign leader does what is necessary, not what is popular. They have accepted the burden of being disliked. And here is the paradox. People crave a leader who doesn't need them. We are drawn to people who are self-contained. We trust them more. Why? Because if you don't need my validation, you won't lie to me to get it. You won't fake niceness to get it. Your yes is real and your no is real. Sovereignty breeds trust. But how do you build this fortress? How do you kill the part of you that wants a pat on the head? 1. Kill the nice guy/girl syndrome. We are raised to be nice. We are told that if we are nice, people will be nice back. This is a covert contract. It is a transaction. I will be agreeable, so you will protect me. The sovereign mind is not nice. It is kind. There is a difference. Nice is a performance. Nice is suppressing your own needs to avoid conflict. Nice is fearful. Kind is rooted in strength. Kind is telling the truth, even when it hurts. Kind is holding the standard. Stop trying to be nice. Start trying to be effective. Start trying to be true. When you stop performing niceness, you will lose some friends. You will upset some people who are used to your submission. Let them go. You are shedding dead skin.
The court of public opinion is adjourned. Inside your head, there is a courtroom. Every time you make a decision to buy a car, to quit a job, to wear a specific outfit, you look at the jury. Who is in the jury? Your mother? Your high school bully? That critical boss from 10 years ago? Society? They sit there judging you. And you, the defendant, start pleading your case. I'm buying this car because it has good gas mileage, not because I'm flashy. Please don't judge me. Dismiss the jury. Empty the courtroom. There is only one judge, you. When you make a choice, ask yourself, if nobody would ever know I made this choice, would I still make it? If the answer is yes, do it. If the answer is no, you are performing for the ghost jury. Living for an audience that isn't watching is the definition of madness. Yet we do it every day. We buy clothes for the audience. We choose careers for the audience. We stay in unhappy marriages for the audience. The sovereign mind realizes the theater is empty. You are the only one in the seats. You might as well play the role you want to play. 3. The power of I don't know. In the information age, we feel pressured to have an opinion on everything: politics, economics, celebrity gossip, the latest crisis. If you don't have an opinion, you are seen as ignorant. So we adopt opinions we haven't earned just to fit in. We parrot what we heard on the news. The sovereign mind is comfortable with the phrase, I don't know enough about that to have an opinion. Or, even better, I don't care. Protect your mental bandwidth.
Your mind is a fortress, not a public square. You do not have to let every topic set up a tent on your lawn. By refusing to engage in every debate, you reserve your energy for the things that actually impact your life. This is intellectual sovereignty. 4. Eliminate justification language. We talked about not explaining in Chapter 1, but this goes deeper. This is about the language you use with yourself. Watch how you talk about your desires. I want to take a vacation because I've worked really hard and I'm burnt out. Stop. I want to take a vacation. Period. You do not need to justify your desires to the universe. You do not need to earn your existence. I am breaking up with you because you did X, Y, and Z. No. I am breaking up with you because this relationship is no longer what I want. The more you justify, the more you weaken your position. You open the door for negotiation. But I can change X, Y, and Z. If you justify, you are saying, my decision is valid only if these reasons are accepted. If you state your will, you are saying, my decision is valid because I made it. This is the divine right of kings applied to the self. Your will is the law of your life. 5. Accept the villain arc. In everyone's story, you will eventually be the villain. To the employee you fired, you're the villain. To the ex you left, you are the villain. To the family member you stopped lending money to, you are the villain. If you try to be the hero in everyone's story, you will be a supporting character in your own.
You must be willing to be the bad guy in their narrative to be the good guy in yours. This is painful. We want to be seen as good, but often good is just a synonym for obedient. When you set a boundary, they will call you selfish. When you prioritize your health, they will call you obsessed. When you build wealth, they will call you materialistic. Wear those labels like armor. If they are calling you names, it means you have ceased to be useful to their agenda. It means you are operating on your own. 6. The sanctuary of solitude. You cannot have a sovereign mind if you are never alone. If you are constantly plugged into the hive mind, podcasts, music, texts, social media, you are thinking other people's thoughts. You are marinating in other people's anxiety. You must carve out time for radical silence. Sit in a room, no phone, no book, just you. The first 10 minutes will be chaos. Your brain will scream for stimulation. But after 20 minutes, the dust settles. You start to hear your own voice. You start to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. This is where sovereignty is forged, in the quiet. It is in the quiet that you realize, I am enough. Not I will be enough when I get the promotion. Not I will be enough when I get the six-pack. I am enough, right now, as I am. Once you truly believe that, the game changes. You stop playing to win validation, and you start playing to express yourself. You operate from a place of fullness, not lack. When you operate from lack, you are a beggar. Please love me. Please hire me.
Please buy from me. When you operate from fullness, you are a king. Here is what I offer. Take it or leave it. The energy is palpable. People can smell the desperation of the beggar. They can feel the gravity of the king. This shift changes your relationships entirely. You stop being jealous. Why would a sovereign be jealous? You have your own kingdom. What someone else has is irrelevant. You stop being possessive. You realize that you cannot own people. If they want to leave, let them leave. The throne remains. You become unoffendable. An insult is just noise. It is a pebble thrown at a castle wall. It does not shake the foundation. This is the ultimate freedom. Imagine walking into a high-stakes meeting with absolutely nothing to lose. You don't need the deal to feel successful. You don't need their approval to feel smart. You are just there to play the game. You are loose. You are creative. You are bold. And because you are unattached to the outcome, you usually win. The person who needs it least gets it most. This is the Zen of power. You have now built the structure. Self-awareness, phase 1, influence, phase 2, and now the internal state of sovereignty, phase 3. You are a fortress. You are a ghost. You are a king. But power is not just about state of mind. Power is about impact. Power is about the ability to change reality. There comes a moment when the silence must end. There comes a moment when the latent energy you have accumulated must be released. It must be released with precision. It must be released with finality. In the next chapter, we will discuss the kill stroke. We will talk about the timing of the end. We will talk about how to be the person who speaks last. We will talk about how to synthesize all your observation and silence into a single, decisive action that ends the debate and claims the victory. You have learned to hold the sword. Now you will learn to strike. Chapter 9. The Kill Stroke. In warfare, there are two ways to engage a target. The first is suppressive fire. You grab a machine gun, you close your eyes, and you spray thousands of bullets in the general direction of the enemy. You make a lot of noise, you chew up the scenery, you burn through ammunition. It is chaotic, it is expensive, and it is rarely effective. Most of the bullets hit dirt. The second way is the sniper. The sniper lays in the mud for 3 days. He does not move. He does not eat. He controls his breathing. He watches the wind. He waits for the target to step into the crosshairs. And then, one shot, one kill. The silence returns instantly. The target is neutralized. The sniper packs up his gear and leaves before anyone knows where the shot came from. In the world of business, relationships, and power dynamics, 99% of people are firing machine guns. They are spraying words, hoping one of them hits the mark. They are arguing in circles, repeating themselves, raising their voice, trying to overwhelm the opposition with sheer volume. You are going to be the sniper. Welcome to the kill stroke. We have spent this entire audiobook building your capacity for silence. We have turned you into a reservoir of potential energy. Now we learn how to release that energy.
The kill stroke is the art of ending the engagement. It is the ability to deliver the final word, not out of pettiness, but out of precision. It is the ability to cut through an hour of noise with a 10-second sentence that solves the problem, defines the reality, and asserts your dominance. This begins with a simple rule: speak last. Nelson Mandela, one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century, was asked how he learned to lead. He said he learned it from his father, a tribal chief. He noticed that in tribal meetings, his father always let everyone else speak first. Why? When you speak first, you reveal your hand. You set your position before you know where the landmines are. You give everyone else a target to attack. When you speak last, you have the ultimate advantage: context. You have heard everyone else's opinion. You know who is allied with whom. You know the weak points in their arguments. You know what has been said, and more importantly, what has not been said. You are the judge. The jury listens to the lawyers argue for hours, but the judge speaks last. And the judge's word is the only one that becomes law. Imagine a boardroom meeting. The marketing team is arguing with the sales team. Tempers are flaring. People are interrupting each other. The suppressive fire is deafening. You sit there. You use the predator's gaze. You lean back. You are the sovereign mind. Finally, the energy in the room starts to dip. They are running out of ammo. They look around, exhausted. That is your moment. You lean forward. You place your hands on the table. The movement draws the eye. It seems the core issue isn't the budget, but that we don't trust the data. Until we fix the tracking, neither strategy works. Let's pause the spend and audit the data first. Silence. You didn't take a side. You stood above the sides. You synthesized the chaos into a single point of clarity. You gave them a directive that made sense. The argument is over. You won. You provided the kill stroke to the confusion. This technique is called the synthesis. People get lost in the weeds. They get emotional. They fight over details. The person who can zoom out and name the real problem is instantly recognized as the leader. While they are fighting about who forgot to take out the trash, you say, the problem isn't the trash. The problem is we have no system for shared responsibilities. You elevated the conversation. You moved it from the tactical to the strategic. But the kill stroke is not just for meetings. It is for conflict. There is a moment in every argument where you have the opportunity to destroy the other person's ego. Don't do it. Destroying their ego creates an enemy for life. It creates resentment. The true kill stroke in a conflict is to destroy the aggression, not the person. Let's say someone is berating you. They are listing your failures. They are trying to provoke a reaction. You wait. You let them run out of breath. Then you ask a calibrated question.
How do you expect me to fix this if I am not allowed to speak? Or, what is the outcome you are actually looking for right now? These questions are kill strokes because they force the aggressor to stop attacking and start thinking.
You cannot be angry and analytical at the same time. You have forced their brain to switch gears. You killed the momentum of their anger with the precision of your curiosity. Now let's talk about brevity as a weapon. The kill stroke must be short. If you ramble, the power dissipates. If you explain, you lose. Think of a judge reading a sentence. Guilty, life in prison, short, heavy, final. When you deliver the kill stroke, strip away the adjectives, strip away the I thinks and maybes. Instead of, I was thinking that maybe we should probably just decline the offer because it's not really good enough. Weak, leaking energy. Say, the offer is insufficient. We pass. Kill stroke. The period at the end of the sentence is an anchor. Drop it heavy. After you deliver the kill stroke, do not keep talking. This is where most people fail. They land the punch, but then they get nervous about the silence, so they start talking again to soften the blow. They undo their own work. Strike, then silence. Say the line, then look at them. The silence that follows the kill stroke is the cement that sets the victory. It forces the other person to sit with the weight of your words. It forces them to digest the reality you just created. If you speak again, you give them a way out. You give them a new hook to grab onto. Don't give them a hook. Give them the wall. Let's look at the tactical walkaway. Sometimes the kill stroke is an action, not a word. You are in a negotiation. The other side is being unreasonable. They are playing games. You close your notebook. You cap your pen. You stand up. It seems we are too far apart. I appreciate your time. You offer your hand. You walk to the door. This is the nuclear option. It is the ultimate kill stroke to the negotiation process. One of two things will happen. They let you leave. Good. You avoided a bad deal. They panic and call you back. Wait, let's see if we can work this out. If they call you back, you have won. You have shifted the power dynamic 180 degrees. You are no longer the suitor. You are the prize. But you must be willing to leave. If you stand up and hover waiting for them to stop you, you look weak. You look like you are bluffing. You must walk with the intent to never return. That intent is what they feel. That intent is what scares them. Now, let's discuss timing. When do you pull the trigger? If you shoot too early, you miss. The target hasn't committed yet. If you shoot too late, the opportunity is gone. The meeting is adjourned or the argument has spiraled out of control. You must wait for the inflection point. This is the moment of peak confusion or peak exhaustion. In a sales meeting, it's the moment the client sighs and says, I just don't know what to do. Kill stroke. You sign with us and we handle it all by Monday. In a relationship argument, it's the moment the partner stops yelling and looks sad. Kill stroke. I love you. We are on the same team. Let's stop fighting and eat. You act when the resistance is lowest. You don't strike the shield, you strike the opening. This requires the patience we cultivated in Chapter 2. You have to sit through the discomfort of the chaos, watching like a hawk, waiting for that split-second opening where a single sentence can end the war. There is a specific type of kill stroke called the name of the game. This is when you call out the dynamic that is happening in the room. If someone is using passive-aggressive manipulation on you, simply naming it kills it. It feels like you are trying to make me feel guilty, so I will agree to your terms. You say it calmly, you aren't accusing, you are observing. Suddenly, the manipulation stops working. A magician's trick doesn't work if the audience knows how it's done. By naming the tactic, you neutralize the tactic. It seems like you are playing good cop, bad cop with me. Now they are embarrassed. They have to stop.
You disarm them by turning the lights on. Let's talk about the look. Sometimes the kill stroke is purely nonverbal. Someone says something incredibly stupid or offensive. You do not dignify it with a verbal response. You do not argue. You look at them. You hold the gaze for 3 seconds, a look of slight confusion and pity. Then you turn your head and talk to someone else. You have just killed their social standing. You have signaled to the room, what that person just said is not even worth acknowledging. This is devastating. It is far more painful than an insult. An insult validates them as a threat. The look dismisses them as a non-entity. Use this sparingly. It is a weapon of mass destruction for our reputation. The danger of the kill stroke. You must understand that this is sharp power.
If you go around delivering kill strokes to everyone, every day, you will be hated. You will be seen as arrogant and domineering. The sniper does not shoot at civilians. The sniper only shoots at high-value targets. Use this power only when a decision needs to be made, disrespect needs to be checked, chaos needs to be ordered, a boundary needs to be enforced. For the rest of the time, be the velvet, be the listener, be the observer. But when the moment comes, do not hesitate. Hesitation is the leak of power. If you have the perfect line, but you stutter or you wait 5 seconds too long, the moment passes, the arrow falls flat. You must trust your gut. When you feel the opening, you strike. No, that is enough. We are done here. This is the way forward. Short, sharp, absolute. As you master this, you will notice a change in how people look at you. They will look at you with a mix of fear and relief. Fear because they know you can see through the noise. Relief because they are desperate for someone to cut the Gordian knot. The world is full of people who are terrified of finality. They want to keep options open. They want to delay. They want to talk. They are waiting for the person who is not afraid of the period at the end of the sentence. Be that person. Be the one who brings the conclusion. Because the person who ends the meeting runs the meeting. The person who ends the argument wins the argument. You have gathered the data. You have assessed the terrain. You have waited in the shadows. Take the shot.
And once the shot is taken, once the smoke clears, what is left? What remains after the noise is silenced and the decision is made? Your presence. The final stage of power is not about what you do or what you say. It is about who you are after the dust settles. It is about the afterimage you leave in people's minds. It is about gravity. In the final chapter, we will discuss the echo of influence. We will talk about how to leave a legacy not through loud proclamations, but through the heavy, undeniable impact of your character. We will teach you how to become the eye of the storm, the point around which the rest of the world rotates. Step out of the shadows. The final lesson awaits. Chapter 10. The Echo of Influence. Drop a stone into a still lake. The stone disappears instantly. It sinks to the bottom, unseen, silent, and gone. But the water remembers. Rings of ripples expand outward, touching every inch of the shoreline, moving the reeds, rocking the boats. The stone is no longer acting, yet its impact is still traveling. This is the echo of influence. We have spent this entire journey discussing tactics. We have talked about how to control your tongue, how to dominate a negotiation, how to stand and how to look. These are the tools of the trade, but tools are for building something. What are you building? You are building gravity, true power, the kind that lasts, the kind that builds empires and legacies, is not a push. It is a pull. It is a gravitational force that bends the environment around it. When you master the silent ways to show your power, you stop being a meteor and you become a planet. A meteor is bright.
It is loud.
It screams across the sky, demanding attention. Everyone looks up and says, "Wow, look at that." And then, in a flash, it burns up. It turns to dust. It leaves nothing behind but a momentary memory of noise. A planet does not scream. It does not rush. It simply hangs in the void, massive and silent. Yet, because of its density, because of its substance, moons orbit it. Asteroids are pulled toward it. It dictates the movement of everything in its vicinity without ever having to chase anything. You have spent your life acting like a meteor, burning yourself out to be seen. I am asking you to become the planet. This chapter is about the after image. What happens when you leave the room? For the weak, when they leave the room, the energy lifts. People sigh in relief. The air feels lighter because the noise is gone. For the powerful, when they leave the room, the energy drops. There is a vacuum. People feel the absence. They feel that the room has suddenly become less significant because you are no longer in it. This is the ultimate test of the echo. Does your absence matter? To achieve this level of existence, you must understand the physics of character density. We talked about being a fortress in Chapter 2. Now we expand that. You must become dense with reality. In a world of superficiality, where people curate fake lives on screens, where opinions change with the trends, where values are sold for clicks, the person who is consistent is an anomaly. Consistency is silent. It is boring to watch day to day. It is not viral. But over a decade, consistency becomes a legend. Think of the mountain. The mountain does not change its mind.
It does not move when the wind blows. It does not apologize for being tall. It does not try to impress the climber. It just stands there. And because it stands there, unmoving, generation after generation, people revere it. They name it. They navigate by it. You must become the North Star for the people around you. Your silence is not just a tactic to win an argument. It is a promise of stability. When you are silent, people know you are not reacting. They know you are not panicking. They know you are processing. This makes you a safe harbor. In times of crisis, people do not look to the person screaming instructions. They look to the person who is calm. Have you ever seen a leader in a true emergency? They move slower, not faster. Their voice gets lower, not louder. They become the eye of the storm. Around them, the winds of chaos are tearing everything apart. Fear, rumors, panic. But in the center, where you stand, there is stillness. This stillness is magnetic. People want to be near it because it calms their own nervous systems. By simply being near you, they feel more in control. You are lending them your strength through osmosis. This is how you lead without giving orders. You lead by vibrating at a frequency of absolute certainty. Let's talk about the myth. When you practice the art of absence, Chapter 4, and the thunder without sound, Chapter 6, you create a gap in the narrative. People don't know everything about you. In that gap, a mythology grows. Humans are storytelling creatures. If you give them all the facts, the story is boring. He woke up, he went to work, he ate a sandwich. If you give them silence, they invent the story.
I heard he turned down $1 million deal. I heard he trains in the mountains. I heard he never sleeps. Let them talk. Do not correct the rumors unless they are damaging to your integrity. Let the legend grow. The legend is always more powerful than the man. The most powerful CEOs, artists, and leaders are rarely seen. When they are seen, it is an event. When they speak, it is a headline. You are not a celebrity. You are an icon. A celebrity dances for the camera. An icon waits for the camera to find them. And even then, they might turn away. This mythology is the echo. It travels ahead of you. It opens doors before you even touch the handle. When you walk into a meeting and people have heard of your reputation, your silence, your competence, your kill stroke, the negotiation is already half won. They are already intimidated. They are already respectful. You did the work years ago. The echo is doing the work now. But there is a spiritual dimension to this mastery. We must address the fertile silence. So far, we have used silence as a weapon, a shield, a trap. But in the final stage of power, silence becomes a gift. When you are truly secure, when you have the sovereign mind, your silence creates space for others to grow. You stop trying to fix everyone. You stop trying to prove you are smarter than them. You just listen. You become a mirror. When a person talks to you and you listen with that intense, predator's gaze, but with a heart of sovereignty, they start to hear themselves. They start to realize their own contradictions. They start to find their own answers. You become the catalyst for their transformation.
They will leave the conversation thinking, he is a visionary. You didn't say anything, you just allowed them to be seen. This is the highest form of influence, to empower others not by telling them what to do, but by providing the silent, solid ground for them to stand on. You are no longer the warrior fighting for scraps. You are the king building the kingdom. And a king does not compete with his subjects. He elevates them. This brings us to the concept of legacy. What remains when you are gone? Not your money, not your car, not your followers. The only thing that remains is how you made people feel. Did they feel small around you? Did they feel bullied? Or did they feel that they were in the presence of something great? The silent ways we have discussed are not about diminishing others to make yourself look big. They are about expanding yourself until there is no room for pettiness. When you are petty, you are loud. When you are great, you are quiet. Think of the ocean. The surface is noisy. Waves crashing, foam, chaos. But go deep. Go down to the Mariana Trench. Total silence, total darkness, and crushing pressure. That is where the power is. The deep ocean moves the climate of the entire world. The surface waves just make a nice picture. Be the deep ocean. As we conclude this audiobook, I want to issue a warning. This path is lonely. We touched on this, but you must understand it. The higher you climb, the fewer people can breathe the air. When you stop gossiping, you lose the gossip friends. When you stop complaining, you lose the victim friends. When you stop seeking validation, you lose the manipulative partners.
You will find yourself walking alone. Do not be afraid of this solitude. It is the cost of entry. It is the filter. Eventually, you will find other lions. You will find other planets. You will find the few people who speak the language of silence. And the bond you form with them will be stronger than anything you have ever known. A relationship built on silence is unbreakable. It does not need words to sustain it. It is a mutual understanding of respect. So, what is the final mandate? Go dark to shine bright. The world is getting louder. The noise is increasing. The desperation for attention is reaching a fever pitch. The algorithm wants your outrage. The news wants your fear. The crowd wants your conformity. Resist. Unplug. Close your mouth. Open your eyes. Build your fortress. Sharpen your mind. Be the glitch in the matrix. Be the one person who refuses to play the game of noise. When everyone zigs, you don't zag. You stand still. And in that stillness, you will find a power that you never knew existed. You will find the power of your own soul. You will realize that you do not need to show your power.
You do not need to perform it. You are power. And power, real power, hums. It does not shout. The next time you walk into a room, remember who you are. You are the observer. You are the vault. You are the velvet hammer. You are the gravity. Let them talk. Let them scramble. Let them guess. You have the work to do. The script is flipped. You are no longer the extra in their movie. You are the director of yours. And the director sits behind the camera, in the shadows, quietly calling the shots.
Cut. The scene is yours. Thank you for listening to The Silent Ways to Show Your Power. This journey has been a deconstruction of the habits that make you weak and a reconstruction of the habits that make you formidable. But listening is not enough. Passive consumption is just another form of noise. You must execute. Do not try to do all 10 chapters at once. You will fail. Pick one. Pick the stoic pause. Practice it for a week. Then pick the predator's gaze. Practice it for a week. Then pick the art of absence. Layer them on top of each other, one by one, like armor plating. It will take time. It will feel unnatural. You will slip. You will speak when you should have stayed silent. You will explain when you should have shrugged. Forgive yourself, reset, and go again. Mastery is not a destination, it is a discipline. It is a daily refusal to be average. If this audiobook has served you, if it has given you a weapon you can use in the war for your own potential, then I ask you to leave a mark. Subscribe to the channel, the premier audiobooks. Like the video. Share it with the one person you know who is ready to hear it. By doing so, you help us signal to the algorithm that there is value in substance, not just in noise. You help us build a community of the sovereign. You have the map. You have the tools. The rest is up to you. The world is waiting for you to stop talking and start leading. Silence is your sword. Restraint is your shield. Impact is your legacy. Now, go and make your silence deafening.